Hey, what's good everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Orphe, and today we are going to talk about this shoot. I'm going to show you how I did it, because today it's more than a BTS. It will be more like a deconstruction video plus BTS, but also I'm going to take you into Photoshop to show you how I went from this to this and what was the inspiration behind this shoot. If you're brand new to this channel, once again, my name is Orphe, and I help a lot of photographers like yourself to improve their work. All right, so let's jump right into it. My friend Layla, she wanted to do a whole project inspired by some of the iconic photos that she find of the models that inspired her in her career. So now the first photo we're going to talk about today is the one from photographer Trey Koch with the model Ducky Thought. So when she approached me with this project, I was very excited, because part of us being photographers, when you work with clients or with models or anybody, or even for yourself, is to trying to reproduce or to be inspired by a mood board. And sometimes some clients are very particular when it comes to the final project. They want to have the exact same thing, or sometimes you can have your word or can have your input by giving a different variation. But for this project, the goal was to give the exact photo. So we had a makeup artist and a stylist. Before we go into Photoshop, let's look at the photo, the inspiration that she sent me. When she sent me this, I looked at it and I was like, okay, this was shot with probably just 1 or 2 lights, or maybe 3 lights. The main thing about this photo was the neck. As you can see, no one has that type of neck, and those shoulders here, very straight type of shoulders. And I knew that a lot of Photoshop was done to the photo. And another thing, it was the earrings. When you look at the earrings, let me do this like this. When you look at the earrings, the distance between the earrings and the shoulders, there's a lot of, distance. No one has a neck like this. So my goal was to achieve this, because I knew it was a lot of Photoshop, but also some lighting prep on set. I knew that I only had 1 light and 1 modifier to use for this specific photo. We shot it on a white backdrop, but the makeup was key, because the makeup artist had to do a makeup that looked a little bit like this. And in terms of the crew neck, or the garment on that the original model had, we didn't have it, so we used a crew neck. In terms of the wig, we had a wig, but the front didn't look as full as this photo. So we did something I'm gonna show you a little bit later to have this specific look and have that fullness on the wig. In terms of lighting, I knew that there was a little bit of reflection of light right here. As you can see on this photo, there's some reflection on the light coming on the cheek and the cheekbones, but I only had 1 light. So the only way I could have achieved this was to get the model a little bit closer to the backdrop and have that big light, that 7-foot umbrella right on top, but also add 2 white reflectors. So the model was between those 2 boards, but also the light was right on top. I didn't want to have a reflector under, because I didn't want the image to look too flat. Since I added the board on both sides of the model, the light reflected on the 2 sides, as you can see here. I shot this with a Canon 5D Mark III and the 24 to 105mm lens. When I started, I was just putting the light. As you can see, this is the session in Capture One, and then I had to readjust my lighting to make sure that we were getting closer to what we're looking for, to go to this. Now, as you can see, this is the first result straight out of the camera, and the only thing that I did, I changed my I enable the black and white. This was the wig. As you can see, this is the wig, and you're gonna see at first we didn't know what we wanted to do with this. So everybody started, like the makeup artist and the stylist, they started to enhance the wig and cut the wig. So we made sure that we had something a little bit similar to the actual photo. In order for me to fix the wig, because I didn't want to fill the wig in Photoshop, what we did, we just flipped the wig to have that fullness here. As you can see, we flipped the wig. We just took the same wig and turned it. All right, this is what we did. And that's how we're able to get the final image. So now let me take you to Photoshop to show you how I did it. So this is the photo straight out of Capture One. So the first layer, as you can see here, the first layer was for the other wig. As you can see, I brought the wig into Photoshop. It was on a different layer. I'm going to show it to you. Those are the things that I did. And also some of the blemishes removal. You're going to see, let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see blemishes removal. And then I wanted to soften the skin. Because the way I softened the skin, it's not that I didn't like it, but I always try to bring back some texture to make the photo more realistic, because I don't want like super dull images. So this is my background copy. So this is the background copy that just for me to bring back the texture, and I reduce the opacity at 29%. This black and white is to add a little bit of contrast. So what I did, the black and white, and I changed the blending mode to soft light, and went to the layer style and reduce the black slider to the current layer. This is some dodge and burn. So dodge, as you can see, the reason why I did it is just to match the photo. As you can see, there's a line here of white for the reflection, because I didn't have it on the original photo. This is what I did. And the shadows. So the burn, my dodge and burn, this is my burn. And on this side here, it's simply because on the original photo there was a little bit of darkness here, and here also a little bit. So like here, and then a little bit of here. So this is what I did with my burn. As you can see, now I'm kind of sculpting the image. For the next one is a global dodge and burn, but it's more like burn because I went through the channel. I'm going to do a different episode for that. I wanted to affect only the black parts of the image, the shadow parts, without affecting the white areas, like for example this line or here. So you're gonna see like what it does to the photo. Only the black parts are being touched. The long neck, as you can see, we went from this to this. So the first thing that I did was to play with the neck. I make the photo a little bit longer, and then I brought the head back. And on this side, you're gonna see I cleaned everything that was here. All right. Now you can see. And since on the photo everything was straight, the shoulders were straight, I had to bring liquify to make sure that everything was, straight. Now for the earrings, as you can see on the earrings, so I removed one and brought it back, and then I had to liquify to make sure that everything was, round and all, before and after. If I look at the photo, they look a little bit shorter and also smaller. Now, the next thing was to erase them first and then make them a little bit shorter. And I added some noise to add more texture on the photo. And now what I did with a curve layer, I added a little bit of, I boosted the white, the blacks a little bit to make sure that I have not a dehaze, but decrushed the blacks. So I pulled up the black point to add a little bit of, not a washed out image, but you get what I'm saying. On the other layer, the black and white layer was my black and white. When you click on this, since this is black and white and we all have, undertone, red or yellow undertone. So what I did, I played, as you can see, I'm playing with a yellow undertone. This can only be achieved when you have a black and white layer, and you can play with, the yellow or the red. As you can see, I could have played with that as well. On the photo, on the original photo that you have or we have here, there's like a blue tint. So that blue tint, what I did, I added the blue tint here and I achieved this with the color balance. The whole image could have, ended like this, but as you can see, this part is very dark. It's very, dark, and even the shadows. And for me, it didn't look like this. So I have to bring a little bit of density to the photo. So as you can see, we went from this to add more density to the photo. And the last touch was the background. I wanted to add more white on the background. I could have left it like this, but I felt like I wanted to add a little bit of white in the backdrop. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have questions, write them in the comments below. All right, it's your boy Orphan and me, baby. I'm out.